Hello everyone, it is box office prediction time. As always, we kick it off with our fantasy movie league recap, and in the predictions with Perri League, got a lot of perfect lineups right here. A lot of people out there had way more faith in the upside than I did. Exactly 26 of them in our league. Here are the 26 perfect lineup winners. A huge congratulations to this entire group. This gives you a better shot of winning award season. As for my current standings, I dropped a little bit. It looks like I came in at 86th place last weekend. I was actually looking at the upside and I started by filling my lineup with that, but then I got cold feet and I came down to just one. So I landed in 86th and now I'm 53 overall, but I'm still coming for you. More weekends ahead. As for my top 5, my numbers here were not all that far off, but my rankings were, so I really only went 1 for 5. Of course, we had the big surprise of the weekend, the upside. I had noticed it looked like it was in good shape, but it still well exceeded my expectations, making $20.4 million opening weekend. Then it was Aquaman at number 2 with another $17.4 million, also crossing the $1 billion mark, which is huge for that film and franchise. The 3 spot got me my only point for the weekend with A Dog's Way Home making $11.3 million, and then it was super close for Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse and Escape Room, with SpiderVerse making enough to snag that 4 spot with $9.1 million, and then Escape Room was right behind with $8.9 million of its own. Jumping into our new round of predictions now, with my number 4 and number 5 picks, I think it might be very, very close, but I'm committing to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for number 5 this weekend. When you consider 1, the long weekend ahead of us, and 2, the building award season buzz for Spider-Verse, there is just no reason to think that its percent change from last weekend is going up at all. And just let's say it only loses 31% this weekend, that's still a really minimal amount. But again, we've got a holiday weekend ahead of us, and we usually do see very low percent changes across the board. So for that reason, I am bringing that 31% down to 25%, and if that's the hit that this movie takes, it's making another $7 million this weekend. Now moving over to that number 4 pick, that is where I have A Dog's Way Home. At this specific point in time, looking at ticket sales, it doesn't look like the movie is holding on too strong, but again, I'm going to keep bringing it up. That holiday weekend, we're going into a holiday weekend, and I just have this feeling that as we get closer to it, we're going to see those numbers pick up for this movie. Looking for a good one to compare it to, of course, last weekend I brought up the movie Max, and A Dog's Way Home happened to open up right in line with that 2015 release. Looking at that movie's second weekend drop, it fell 45.6%, but of course, bringing up that holiday weekend again, and then on top of that, there's no new family-friendly competition. So for those reasons, I think that A Dog's Way Home could be in pretty good shape. I don't think it's going to see a drop as low as Spider-Man, but thankfully it's got enough of a lead on Spider-Verse to hold on to this 4 spot. I think this movie is going to drop 35% and make another $7.5 million. Moving on to number 3 now, that is where I have Aquaman. Aquaman did take a slightly bigger hit than what I predicted last weekend, but still, losing 44% in weekend 4 for a movie like that is still crazy impressive. And this weekend, again, those percent changes are likely coming down. This movie opened pretty big, and then it's played the long game well, and I think that's going to continue here. I'm going to take that 44% and bring it down to, let's go with 37%, even with Glass coming out. And yes, Glass can eat into Aquaman's profits just a little bit, but I still think Aquaman is holding strong, dropping 37% and making another $11 million. Now it's on to the 2 spot, and that is where I have last weekend's big surprise, the upside. Ticket sales are looking pretty good right now, and then on top of that, it's got that A cinema score, which could signal some long legs here. Just to start this off, let's go back to another Kevin Hart movie that I brought up last week, and that I said that the upside wasn't going to match. It was The Wedding Ringer. Turns out the movie did match it. It matched its opening weekend. And then looking at The Wedding Ringer's second weekend in theaters, it wound up dropping 45.2%. And you know what? I think the upside is going to well exceed that. I am throwing that number right out the window, and I am going with a super low percent change, my lowest percent change of the entire video. I am saying this movie is losing 15% of its opening weekend profits, closing out weekend 2 at number 2 with another $17 million. And now it's time for that number 1 pick, and of course, it's going to newcomer Glass. I've been looking at this one and I've been thinking it's going to post the second highest opening for a January release ever for a good while now. I think my numbers are coming down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to change its ranking. I still think it's going to open up and wind up on that particular all-time list right behind American Sniper, which right now sits at number 1 because that movie opened with a little less than 90 million. But back to Glass now. What better movie to use to start to figure this one out than Split, which opened with about $40 million. So right there, we know that Glass is topping that. If you had asked me how much I thought Glass was going to make even 2-3 weeks ago, I probably would have given you a number in the 60s. Now that reviews are out and there's a little bit of negative buzz swirling around, I'm bringing that number down. I want it in the 50 range now instead. And I guess you could call this movie that I'm about to reference another less traditional superhero movie, Watchmen. Watchmen opened with about $55 million, and that's exactly where I think Glass is going to land. $55 million for the 3-day weekend. All right, guys, let's recap those picks now. I've got Glass topping the charts with $55 million for the 3-day weekend. Then it's The Upside coming in at number 2 with $17 million. Aquaman taking my 3 spot with $11 million. A Dog's Way Home coming in at number 4 with $7.5 million. And then it's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with $7 million. All right, guys, your turn now. Hit that comment section below, put your top 5s right there, and then head on over to Fantasy Movie League, lock those lineups. Of course, as always, the URL and the password to the Predictions with Perri League is in the description of this video, so check it out if you want to sign up and you haven't done so already. Before I say goodbye, I've got some Patreon shoutouts to give. We've got 6 of them, and these guys are so great. A big thank you goes out to Avi L, Rick, Lewis, David, James, and Steven. You guys rock. Thank you so much for being part of this Patreon community that really is a regular bright spot in my days. Your support means the world to me. I love doing this. So the fact that you are here, I cannot say thank you enough. So thanks to you guys, and thanks to everybody watching this video right now. Good luck with your box office predictions, and I'll check back in next weekend to see how we all did and to make some new predictions. Bye, guys.